Is Your Bizarre Adventure still good in 2026? It's been a year since I last touched this game, and for those who are new, first off, hi. I used to make videos about YBA, not a whole lot of them, but enough to make me think that the game was owned by Israel. But even before those videos, I played this game since 2020 for quite a while. If your child has been playing YBA for 5 years straight, you might want to reconsider your relationship with them. Anyways, I wanted to know what changed by the time I was gone and see if they made any improvements to the game. Spoiler alert, not much changed. Now, we had a slight issue with trying to do research for all of the things that I missed over the year because I am banned from the Discord server. Don't ask me how. So instead, I asked a YBA expert to help with some of the research. We'll talk about the game in general and see if anything changed or did not change. Let's not have our expectations too high. The YBA community. Known in its history for being the least toxic community ever. Nah, I'm kidding. This community is still ass! If you play this game, there will always be a 99% chance that someone would jump you, but everyone knew that already. The game is and will always be toxic, no matter what time you play this game. Now, what I really want to know is, do people still enjoy the game? Because one of the main reasons that I liked playing YBA was that it was a fun fighting game. Because from my own personal experience, the fighting game aspect of YBA was the most fun part, even though it was always unbalanced. And if you look at YBA on YouTube, the only kinds of content you will mostly see is stand plus spec combination and a 1v1 game. Which is hilarious because it's always the same stuff, but I can't blame people because there's not a whole lot of things to do in the game. But still, I think we can all agree that the fighting aspect is kinda fun, or at least that's why there are people who still play this game in general. But then again, with all the long updates, the unbalanced gameplay, and all the other bullshit, it is still not at its peak potential. Now, speaking of the updates, when was the last time there was anything? Do you guys remember Uzuke? I kinda find it hilarious because that guy just disappeared and gave everything to Paragon, who, if I remember correctly, doesn't have a whole lot of experience with scripting. And what's funny is that you have abilities with varying amounts of qualities, some who look outdated as shit and have had a few tweaks received, or abilities with some very good visuals because we had two different people with completely different experiences. But we won't forget Eternal Battlegrounds. Speaking of abilities, let's talk about those. Obviously, all of the stand's abilities mostly still have the bullshit that they always used to have, but the most interesting thing about the stands and the spec is that you have a bunch of combinations. This is what made the game interesting for a lot of people. KCR plus Vamp, Starplat plus Boxing, The World plus Spin. There are a bunch of combinations that you can do which keeps the game fresh when you're bored. And you also have the skill tree, which allows you to choose different upgrades at the cost of points. Custom builds was the name of the game. But with the rehauls that Paragon made on the skill trees, what you can do is a lot more interesting than before. So I would say it's not a bad improvement. But one of the things about abilities in this game that we talked about before is how they don't have the same quality, which makes the game weird. And I still think that after all these years, having those things around kind of annoys me. Also, one other thing that is also kind of sad about YBA is that certain specs have had their abilities removed because they were too overpowered. For example, remember this move on Vampire? Yeah, I missed that. But essentially, abilities haven't changed too much in general, apart from a few reworks and rehauls here and there. But with all of the time that they had, and all of the time that they could balance the game, polish out a few things here and there, they definitely could have done more with the stands, the specs, and everything about the game in general, but they just did nothing, which is still the case as of today. So yeah, it's kinda sad. Now let's talk about the rest of the game. Leveling up in this game still sucks, but after Prestige 3, there is really nothing else to do. But one of the other things that YBA is known for, Gunner skins. As far as I know, there hasn't been any other skin that have been added. I might be wrong, but it is still the same process of either grinding stand arrows and Rokas, or having the biggest lucky arrow collection ever, or having Jesus parts. As for the other game modes, you have your steel bar run, which is just ganking people, and you have 1v1s, which is just what most people will play, because there isn't that much of anything else to do in this game, unfortunately. Conclusion: will I ever play this game again? Probably not. Is JoJo still peak? Always. So as for YBA in 2026, I would give it a generous 5.5 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in another video. Goodbye.